Manchester United won, Chelsea won, and what a game from a tactical standpoint. I feel like Ruud van Nistelrooy was really brave. It may not look like that in terms of the score and maybe the clear-cut opportunities, but he really did try and be aggressive. So we're going to go through Manchester United's setup and how it actually did confuse Chelsea. But before I begin, if you are new here, please hit the subscribe button. And as always, please hit the like button too. It will be greatly appreciated. But yeah, let's just start with the way Manchester United did set up in the press. Here you've got a lovely line of four of Bruno, Højlund and Rashford and Garnacho, and what this did, it was just trying to disrupt Chelsea's build-up. As you can see, Colwill here, Fofana here and James here. Chelsea did tend to build up with a 3, and you know, that's nothing new really. We do expect that with Lavia and Caicedo trying to get in and around that Manchester United sort of press, but it just wasn't working for Chelsea. As you would have watched the game, I'm sure everyone watching this video watched the game, there was a lot of errors from Chelsea, and those errors were forced by the way Manchester United were aggressive in the press. Because when you're pressing with 4, what this does is outnumbers Chelsea. So if this ball from Colwill goes into James, Garnacho can press in there, Bruno can get higher in there, Højlund can go in there, Rashford can either go this way or this way, and Chelsea are really penned in. You've then got to count on players like Cole Palmer, who's hiding behind here, to come into these deep areas and receive the ball. But what Manchester United would do when Cole Palmer would try and get into this area, you'd have Dalot, or whether it was Mazraoui, wherever Cole Palmer was on the pitch, they'll be really aggressive and on him. And it happened so many times, and there were so many situations where Manchester United did win the ball back from this really aggressive press. I was really excited by the way they did this, because it's not something that we often see from United being this aggressive in the press, but they did win it back so many times, and that's why I feel like this game was more on the attacking players not being clinical in the final third. So I'm now going to show you a couple of opportunities that Manchester United got from this press. So here is one. This was where Lavia was so lucky. Højlund aggressive onto the Lavia, not allowing any time for him. The ball actually came from Colwill into this area, and this is what Man United were doing. You've also got Rashford ready to pounce here. You've got Bruno in and around this zone protecting this area. You've then got Garnacho ready on Reece James to spring into these gaps. It was all in a fantastic setup from Ruud van Nistelrooy. He really did try and get, you know, United to suffocate Chelsea. When he got the job, you remember United fans, he would be like, I want to promise excitement. I want to bring back smiles to United fans' faces. And the way he did set up in this aggressive way was to enable that. United should have been much more clinical, much better in retrieving these balls. This sort of area was perfect for either Bruno to retrieve it or Højlund to retrieve it. In the end, Lavia got lucky, but these situations all come from the original press. And I also want to point you here, this may be Mazraoui or Casemiro. Look how aggressive they are. Ready. Chelsea are completely outnumbered here. This is rare where you see a team so aggressive that they try and outnumber the opposition. There's 1, 2, 3, 4 Manchester United players there. 5, as Mazraoui would probably come into this zone. And there's only 4 Chelsea players really there in an area to defend. 1, 2, 3, 4. And to do this, it's not easy to do this, but Ruud van Nistelrooy really did try and get Manchester United on the front foot. The idea was there, the execution when they did win the ball from these situations wasn't there. Now I'm going to show you another scenario where actually the 2 behind these 4 pressing were really good. So here you have a situation where Manchester United are 4v4. You've got Rashford, you've got Højlund. Ugarte was the one that won possession back. I thought Ugarte was actually pretty decent in the game. He was obviously that sort of player who's going to rack up fouls. He won't be clean. His timing was potentially off in some situations. But once he gets match fitness, once he gets sharper, those tackles where, you know, it was just a split second too late, he'll start timing them. I really do think you should keep with Ugarte because he has the right aggressive nature that is needed in a press, especially with Amorim and the way he presses. Ugarte will be key. So look at the situation that Manchester United are in. They're a 4v4. Bruno isn't there, but this is the idea that Ruud van Nistelrooy wanted to happen multiple times in the game, to have an overload, to have Chelsea 3 versus 4 at the back, and it happened. In this sort of scenario, a ball should definitely be quicker going out to Marcus Rashford. It really does. There were so many times in the final third where Manchester United were not clinical enough. They have to be better. They have to show more quality, more composure in the final third. Maybe that's come from Erik ten Hag, because Manchester United really didn't sustain pressure or have enough scenarios like this under Ten Hag. But in this game against Chelsea, they had so many. most of the time due to the poor ability of Chelsea to play out from the back, but then sometimes due to the fantastic press. But it was really nice to see United in these areas. They should have scored a lot more goals from here. Ugarte in the end did travel here and was fouled, but there was an opportunity here to really make Chelsea pay and score from a really, really good press. Now let's get on to the next phase of the game. One thing that Ruud van Nistelrooy has definitely tried to do is get more numbers in the box. Here you've got Rashford 1, Casemiro, one of the 2 players in the sitting role, in the box 2. Then you've got Højlund 3. That is fantastic. And look at how many Chelsea players are in the box. They're completely outnumbered here. Fofana isn't in the game. And this is the overload that you need to see from a team like Manchester United. Manchester United need to be scoring goals. They need to be aggressive in the way they set up in an attacking sense. And having all these players in the box to outnumber Chelsea is a sign of bravery, but attacking intent too, sorry. It was Garnacho in the end, I think, who swung this ball in. Rashford, this was the one where he hit the bar. But this is where you want to see Marcus Rashford, in this zone, in the backstick area. This should be where Marcus Rashford sniffs goals, especially when United have the ball in the wide areas, the opposite flank. Rashford, Garnacho, whoever is in these wide areas, especially in this 4-2-4 sort of pressing structure that Manchester United implemented, they've got to be in the box ready for balls like this. And United could have scored from here. It was a fantastic effort from Rashford, to be honest. Really did keep it down. It was so unlucky in the end. But this is what Ruud van Nistelrooy did with Chelsea. He was so aggressive with the numbers he had in the box. You know, the fact that Casemiro is in here just goes to show, causing havoc. Reece James doesn't know whether to stick or twist. He goes in with Casemiro, leaves Rashford free, and it's an opportunity there. Another situation which isn't from the press, but more the attacking intent, being in those wide areas, playing it wide, where Manchester United were able to create an opportunity, but didn't take it. We got a little introduction to Amorim ball with the way that Manchester United build up the play. Here the ball is with Onana, but I want you to see the players here. There's a back 3. We know Amorim's going to play a 3-4-3. And this is really, really good to see. Maybe he had some sort of input in the way Manchester United played, but it is great to see that this was the build-up structure. Then you've got Dalot acting as a wing-back. Here, this would be one of, the wingers coming in the pockets. This is Casemiro here. Or potentially, actually, this would be the left central midfielder, the one that's more advanced of the defensive one, would be in this sort of a zone, a Mainu or whoever it is. But in this case, it was Casemiro. Then Bruno as an inside forward. This was really Amorim-like, and Manchester United was so brave in the way that they sometimes tried to play out. They would utilise as well Onana's long balls. We know how much of a weapon Onana can be on the ball. And the way they played out of this was really nice, into the path of Dalot. And you know what that does? That eliminates 1, 2, 3 players from the game. And you can see Pedro Neto here pointing towards Casemiro. Chelsea really didn't know what to do, because Lavia would come here or he has to come here as well. So it was this confusion. The rotations were really nice. Bruno popping up into nice zones. Casemiro playing a little bit advanced. Ugarte dropping in to create a 3-back so Manchester United can build up. Dalot acting as a wing-back. Mazraoui also did the same on the other side of the pitch. He was a bit more advanced here. And that all comes from the way that Ruud van Nistelrooy set up United. Chelsea definitely didn't expect this. And it probably wasn't the sort of game that Chelsea wanted to play in. Really tactical in a sense that, they weren't able to do what they wanted to do. They weren't able to build up. They weren't able to press in the way where they wanted to press, because United really did have a lot of fluid rotations on the pitch. Here it is. Look at the result of that playing out from the back. The ball comes out to Dalot, and then it comes into the feet of, I think this is Bruno Fernandes actually, and Manchester United have completely eliminated anybody in that third of the pitch. We didn't see this enough with Ten Hag. Really good build-up play there. Amorim, I'm sure, would have been happy to see this, but I feel like this is where United need to be better. Under Amorim, this run from Højlund would be found. Gyökeres used to make these, well, didn't used to, but Gyökeres makes these runs for Sporting and is always found. Bruno will be expected to receive this ball normally on the half turn and swing a ball into the path of Højlund, who's in on goal. Because Reece James has to either stick or twist, come inside. In this case, he's marking Rashford. So there's opportunities there for Manchester United, in the way they've built up, in the way they've got into this third of the pitch. They've got to be more clinical, more aggressive in the way they play to find the Højlunds of this world, because Højlund is making a fantastic run here once Bruno's received this ball, but he just isn't found, and Amorim's got to find a way for that ball to always find Højlund in the end. But it's good to see the way that Ruud van Nistelrooy did try and set up. Really fluid, the press 4-2-4, the build-up 3 at the back sort of structure. It's really nice to see this sort of thing. When I talk about Manchester United playing a sort of risky game today in this way they sort of pressed, This is what I mean. I'm going to show you now an image from this game, and I'm going to show you an image from Amorim Sporting Lisbon's game where they were in the same situation. This is what Manchester United fans need to be prepared for, because the way that Amorim likes to play, his two central midfielders can often get out of the game in the way that the opposition can play out. And here, it is all down to a 3 versus 4. And that's why a back three of Amorim, they have to be athletically strong. They need to be able to anticipate. They need to know when, as a unit, they need to press higher to you know, sort of track the wingers, the strikers. Jackson here made a really good run. But again, United did deal with this situation really well. I think it was De Ligt in the end, really aggressive in there. And this is why I feel like De Ligt will be better as a sort of left centre-half, or sort of right centre-half actually, with Lissandro as the right centre-half. Because there was too much of a burden on the central centre-half to have the timing correct. I feel like Euro in this sort of situation would be the best. Then you've got De Ligt really here, can anticipate, and he knows this sort of zone a lot better because he's a right centre-half. But anyway, it will be up to Amorim to see how he can really have Manchester United back three practice ready for situations in a game where they're having to be like this. In this case, Mazraoui had to tuck in to deal with that Chelsea threat. But it's just nice to see how similar, or kind of an introduction to United fans, that they'll have to deal with these situations a lot under Amorim, as I'll now show you. So here it is, similar situation with Amorim Sporting Lisbon this season in the Champions League against PSV. The back three, because the wing backs aren't back, it's so much burden on a back three to be able to stay strong, stay tight. And actually, this example shows Manchester United dealing with this situation better than Sporting, because eventually the ball comes in here and you've eliminated this guy. It then becomes this sort of situation. This guy can make a run in there. Then there was actually an overlap in this area from this sort of zone, and Sporting weren't able to deal with it. In the end, it didn't go in. But it was a big chance missed by PSV, who missed a lot of chances in this game from these sort of scenarios. Because look, you press high, your midfielders then come out of position. This would be a Ugarte in this sort of zone, because Mainu, or, you know, in this place, it was, I think it was Morita, was pressing a bit higher up the pitch. It is tricky. It is tricky to play Amorim ball, but United fans, you've got to be prepared for situations like this, where it's just your back three back there to deal with an attacking threat of an opposition. But that's what makes it exciting for Amorim ball.